Welcome everyone, LostScarf here, and we got Verbalosity here,
Hello
and
there,
we
Mike.
are trying basically a podcast again. This is the third time to charm. First time went for like a year. Second time went for I don't remember anymore, a couple weeks, and we're gonna see how this one goes. We're trying this again because my work schedule is now set in stone for the rest of my life, so I should be able to work with that.
You're no longer in the chaos times.
Yeah, I'm no longer in chaos. The only way there's gonna be chaos, two things that could cause chaos. That is, I have a love life, which isn't happening right now because the quarantine, or because then that obviously changes things, or I try to get into management and that changes my work schedule again. So I'd have to figure out around that too. But that ain't happening for a couple of years. The management part, not the love life, because I swear to God, if it's a couple of years on that, I'm gonna die. So basically the podcast. So the plan is for these things, it's we talk to content creators, in general, anyone in gaming for the most part. If we branch away from gaming, it's just because it was someone really interesting. That means Verb's interesting. That's why he's the first guest. And we just talk, and we'll talk about what we want to talk about. And it should be a lot of fun. That's really what these are. Is basically a podcast. Is basically a conversation, and that's why I do these because these can be really fun conversations to have. And partially gotta talk about the quarantine at some point. But first thing is, since it's been a while, like introductions, Verbalosity. It's been a while. What have you been up
Indeed.
to? Not just like
Uh,
since then, but just like who are you and everything for anyone who is
for
new.
those of you who have not watched the previous episodes, when of me and Scarf ranting for like 3 hours, not much has really changed for me in terms of like, I still do commentary for Honor-wise. I am taking a mild break from it right now for about a month or two because naturally, For Honor development has been affected by quarantine, so they had to delay a season by like a whole month and a bit. Until like we don't get another character, and competitive right now is a bit, well, not a bit, a lot stale. So
Hmm.
I could try and like force myself to do stuff, but it wouldn't be very good and just do it for the money. So I just took a break, and I'm glad I have because it's freed up some time to one, get into D&D, and two, start playing new games that have come out recently, like XCOM Chimera Squad, Gears Tactics, and we'll be definitely having talking about those because Scarf, I know you've been playing Chimera Squad on stream, right?
Yeah, I've been playing that. That's really fun. I've been considering Gears Tactics, but I don't know anything about Gears, so I don't know if I want to play it. I don't know
You
where it takes
wouldn't need to
place.
worry too much. You wouldn't need to worry too much because
Hmm.
as a tactics game, it's great. It's like
Oh.
XCOM, but more. It's just more aggressive. I'll talk about it more when we get into it because
Hmm.
there's something a bit more pressing I want to talk about first, and that is something which we did a tiny bit as we were preparing for this yesterday. Or I think it was yesterday, as of time of recording, the Inside Xbox event happened,
Hmm.
and just for we're recording this on the 8th of May. Just to check that for a
Yeah,
second in
yeah.
my head.
The goal
We're
is to
recording this on the 8th of
hopefully,
May.
yeah, I'm gonna hopefully
Yeah,
release it Wednesday. We'll see. That's the try.
yeah, yeah. And the Inside Xbox was meant to be kicking off this year's like E3
Hmm.
hype cycle, but also this is an important year because of next generation. So everyone was going into this expecting a lot. And Microsoft clarified that like at the start of the show, that first party was not going to be shown until July. Now, naturally, on the one hand, that is understandable
Hmm.
because coronavirus quarantine, COVID-19 forcing all the devs to work from home,
Yeah.
which is naturally going to hurt for production. Like, it's harder to make a press demo or like a whole presentation when you're stuck at home
Hmm.
instead of being in the office, naturally.
Yeah.
So there is that clarification, like, of everything's going to be screwed up, especially with E3 being closed down, GDC's closed down for a while back, Gamescom's get closed down, I believe, too. Like, none of that's happening. So Xbox has had to scramble together to make a presentation. So for the Inside Xbox that just happened, it was only third party, and it was fantastic. They showed a lot of new stuff. Noisy bikers. There was only third party shown. They
Hmm.
decided. The problem is a lot of the stuff they did in the marketing running up to Inside Xbox was like gameplay reveals, especially with Assassin's Creed, which was shown at the end. Assassin's Creed Valhalla specifically was shown at the end, and it was like gameplay reveal. there was only 2, maybe 3 games shown out of everything there that were proper gameplay reveals. And even then, like, the biggest offender that people may or may not have seen on social media was Assassin's Creed Valhalla. They were hyping that up to be a gameplay reveal. And you expect that to be in the vein of like Baldur's Gate 3 when it was revealed at PAX by Larian Studios, half an hour in front of the crowd. Or in the case of Cyberpunk, an hour-long gameplay demonstration. But what it ended up being was basically just a sizzle reel. Your classic Ubisoft sizzle reel. It was very good, because Ubisoft, if there's one thing they're god tier at, is making trailers. Like, Ubisoft trailers have ruined several songs for me, because I just associate them with the trailer now. But there was only one tweet seen publicly that was actually a, hey, guys, this is not a full thing, and that was one from the creative director. And it was just one tweet, one tweet by him and then an extra one underneath. That was it. All the marketing was saying gameplay reveal, not like teaser. This was basically just a teaser, because it was in-engine, but it wasn't gameplay. It was just, look at this cool thing. Now look at this other cool thing. Completely disassociated. Now look at this cool thing. Now we're pushing around. And now we're doing this. Can we see some gameplay or like UI? Like, no. It looks cool though, doesn't it? So that was a big problem with Inside Xbox. There wasn't that much actual gameplay or show of things. The only things where there was actually gameplay shown properly was Bright Memory Infinite. That was the first game shown. Made by one dude in China. And even then, that was more of a pseudo-tech demo. But that looked pretty as hell.
Double checking.
Then there was... Yeah, like that's been going for a little bit now. It's made by one dude in China, and it was in early access for ages, I think. Then there was... I'm currently scrolling through a list because there was a good couple games there. Second Extinction was another one, which is basically just Left 4 Dead crossed with Ark Survival Evolved, from what I understand.
Huh.
The trailer was just, hey, I've got a shotgun sliding around shooting raptors. Alright, that's kind of hype. One of the big ones for gameplay was The Ascent, which is which looks like Diablo Punk. Like isometric cyberpunk style game.
Okay.
Which is that's what it's looking like. Maybe a twin stick style, but it's got co-op in it. That had gameplay. Vampire Masquerade and Yakuza Like a Dragon were like, they showed a little bits here and there, but not much. It was sizzle reel again.
I have hope for Masquerade.
Yeah, although the trailer itself was great because it used the same song that Wolfenstein used in Wolfenstein New Blood, and I love that song. But yeah, a lot of it was just introducing what third parties are going to be on Xbox Series X. That was a big thing.
You can find on other consoles most likely because they're third party. Yeah. Or PC. Yeah. Usually, if you can get on Xbox, you can get on PC. Also because, the Xbox Pass is on PC. But, so Bright Memory. Now I remember this. I got a copy of that from the dev. I didn't know it was one guy. That explains some things because some things feel a bit like there could be more polish to it. It's a nice looking game. I've actually, I played the demo or whatever the early access game. It's pretty fun. So I thought they forgot about it. So it's good to know they're still working on that. This is a pretty nice looking game. It had, when you play it, it had, what is his name from Smite? The guy where he has a mouth in his body, in his stomach.
Oh, Jing Chen.
Yeah.
Jing Chen.
You fight him. And he looks really freaking cool. And you fight him in the game. That was pretty cool. So, one guy doing all that work? Jeez. It's really nice looking. The gameplay is not bad. It feels like there's too many ideas, which makes sense if it's one guy working on it. Because no one's telling him, okay, too much, buddy. Too much. But that gives me hopes. Masquerade I'm really curious about because the original was such a good game. It's been literally over a decade or two since the last game came out. And everyone loves Ass Creed, so it's just, I know the only voices I've heard from yesterday from that was Ass Creed because of Assassin's Creed. Because of just people like, gameplay? What gameplay? Like, that's all people have been talking about. That is the last thing, so it usually is the last thing gets talked about anyway. But that's the implications just alone of just thinking about E3, Gamescom, and GDC. Yeah, them not being there this year is such a crazy thing because that's really valuable to indie devs or just any devs in general because they get major feedback from those cons, and they're not here. So I'm really
And the meetings
curious.
too.
Oh
Even the
yeah.
meetings apparently devs had, like
Mhm.
especially at GDC, PAX, E3, allow some games to be made in the first place.
I know they were having a lot of consideration if they would do things online, and because I've heard the murmurs about that, and I don't know. Some of them are like, yeah, we're still gonna do our talks, and some are like, we're not gonna do our talks. So I'm really curious about
What
that.
the weird thing right now is Jeff Keighley, bless that man's heart, has decided to put the industry on his back and is running this whole summer of games, or I forget the games festival, summer games
Hmm.
festival. I forget the name exactly. It's
Okay.
basically a several month long and like announcement spree. So they're taking all the stuff that would have been announced for E3 hype time
Hmm.
and are stretching it out more comfortably over a couple months for people. And like this was the start of it, was this inside Xbox. There's probably going to be stuff from Nintendo, like Sony, all that will probably be in this like summer of games. Like EA will
Interesting.
probably drop stuff too, because there's rumors of like an EA Mass Effect remaster going around. Like
Oh, that'd be nice.
there's that whole shebang potentially happening.
Hmm.
But yeah, like devs, like as much as I want to be like, yeah, that was misadvertisement on a lot of things. On the other hand, devs are being pushed hard into a corner
Yeah.
because of COVID-19,
It's
and it's not great.
it's interesting. Just it like the triple A's. There's a lot of holdback because of course Last of Us 2 got held back. They held that back because of the virus. Because they're like, well, we could make so much more money if this wasn't happening, so we'll just hold that back. Get things prepared, try to get more people to buy it digitally. That's what they're doing. I can't remember what other games they did that. Still, FF7 Remake still came out. Doom Eternal still came out. Well, that's because it was at the start of the quarantines. So
Mm.
Doom Eternal came out right at the start of the quarantines. Animal Crossing came out at the start of the quarantines. That was a big game for the quarantines.
Yes. Animal
Woo!
Crossing New Horizons came out the literal perfect time. Oh, horrific event causing the world to be shut inside and like strain on everyone's mental health. Literally the most perfect response the universe could have come up with. A brand new Animal Crossing to bring people together.
Yep. It came out the same day as Doom, so it was amazing as well. And Doom got held back to that date too. They came out
Yeah.
the right time. Uh, but yeah, some games got held back because of just well the release dates. And Last of Us 2 is the big one. I think people notice got held back. I swear, if FF7 got held back again, it was just like, oh great, another hold back on that. But Last of Us 2 really touched some people, so they really reacted when that got put on hold. But I just yeah, the big games that they know will sell by physical units, that's getting just held back for sure.
Naturally.
But anything that's just digital only, they're just still going forward. It's like indies for the most part are still just going forward if they can. And
Mm.
some of them are just, well, this is not a bad time, so there's a good chance people will buy their game. Really good time. I don't, although I haven't seen really much ramp up in indies, which, because of course, who can really ramp up from whatever they got to, well, this time period right now. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bunch in the next couple months. They come out sooner than they planned, just because they have more time to work on it. There's nothing else to do. No one has a social life right now. Uh, well, depending on the developer, they don't have one either. They're just working on it. But I'm hoping to get some interviews with some devs just to see what that's doing to them. Especially just, I know Gamescom is just so big to a lot of developers. And
That'd be interesting to hear about because you hear about naturally like delays of like, oh, things delayed. It'd be cool to hear why, like what causes delays when you're
mhm,
working from home. Because it's kind of easy for me to assume, even though I've been to game dev studios, but
hmm,
like I've been to like two at this point, which is weird for me to say.
nice.
But uh, but like I want to know what the logistical problems are with doing work from home. The only actual one I know about is Eastern companies, like Japan-based or like Korean-based developers
Hmm.
are having a really hard time with develop work from home because they have a big culture over there of keeping their servers locked down. You do not
Hmm.
get access unless you need it. So
Hmm.
having everyone access it remotely, all the IT security guys are just molding internally. Like, oh god. That's the only like big, and that's why like Monster Hunter had its Alatreon update pushed back to an undetermined time. It was supposed to be out this month,
Oh wow, really? I
but
didn't
now
know that.
its Alatreon update is like it's gone. It's down the road.
Man,
Understandably so, but it's down the road.
oh no, I haven't been paying attention because I casually been playing Monster Hunter World, but ooh, Alatreon, that's a big dragon. That's a big one.
Yeah, one of the Black
Ooh,
Dragons, one of the big three.
yeah. So that's a serious thing, but it makes sense because yeah, especially Japan, the way they do things on their lock and key. Gonna let the rabbit out of the hat for something with American stuff. Just the government, they're all screwed right now.
Oh,
So the way American government does things is, yeah, it's on a server, right? The local server.
hmm.
So because well, the government still needs to work, and I'm talking local, state, federal. They still need to work, so they have to work from home, right? They're giving access to home from those like just connecting to federal just government things, federal, state, and local government to home access to a lot of workers in this country right now. That is, it's just open season for hackers right now. It's amazing. And
Hmm.
why do I work government job right now? No. Still, I have a job right now because of it, so that's not bad. But just yeah, there's so much room for effery right now. Things can go really bad because of hackers if they want, and it will happen. They're bored as hell as well, so they'll do some things, like what's been happening with the Zooms. People just getting into people's Zoom meetings and messing around with that. Very not cool, but it happens.
That is that is slightly different because that's a crime with not too much consequence unless you
Yeah,
like mentally scar a child.
which is happening.
Like, because yeah, like the whole Zoom thing of people breaking into Zoom, like getting into Zoom meetings because they're unsecured and like blasting racist music
Yeah,
or whatever, like Soviet anthem on like deep fried 500 volume
yeah.
or whatever.
Like that's
Like,
an easier one to pull off, but
it's like that.
yeah,
That's casual trolling. Like actual infrastructure attacks, like you said, it could be a problem.
well, because the age of people who work for the government, they're old. They're decades older than the internet age. So oh, they don't know what they're doing. So it's a lot of old people having their children or grandchildren explain to them how computers work. I
Hmm.
know this firsthand. So oh god, so many bad things could happen, and we'll who knows if they do. You learn when you actually work for the government just how things live on a thread. And also, just from having family who knows how restaurants work, how they survive on a thread, it's amazing how things don't fall apart more often, honestly. And the virus is just causing things to be laid bare. But when it comes to gaming, it would be very interesting just to learn how they're dealing with things for sure. But there's no way I'd
Like,
be able to talk to Eastern companies, that's for sure.
yeah. One of the big things in terms of like security and like infrastructure with back to video gaming specifically to tie it back in, production of the new consoles. There was big concerns about that. That
Ooh.
production could get because of course like China got hit big. That's going
Mm-hmm.
to be one of the big production heartlands. And if the consoles are meant to be out this year, it's like holiday 2020 was announced to be Xbox Series X. It's like, that's going to be an issue potentially. Or at the very minimum, it ends up being a Nintendo situation. Like, I'm not very well versed in that, but I imagine you are.
Mm.
The Nintendo situation of Nintendo under releases consoles early on, and they just boom up in price for the first couple weeks.
Yep, scalpers
Like, what
suck.
didn't happen with the Switch? Didn't that happen with the Switch?
Yeah, it happens every time. Everything Nintendo makes gets undermade because I don't think Wii U's the reason, but I think they're just always too cautious. Although maybe Wii U is the reason. Like they've always been overly cautious at some. I don't know since when, but they've always been like, just in case things don't go as amazing as we hope they do, let's just not make that many, and then it's just scalpers go to town on it. It's been that way with
Yeah.
Amiibo. It's been that way with the Switch. It was that way with each one, like the classic NES, the classic SNES. They just
Oh
keep
Lord, I heard
underselling.
about those. The scalping on the classic NES. Mm,
It's
mm.
so ridiculous, but it happens. And It's always Nintendo. It's Nintendo over everyone else. But eventually people get them. They just don't get them as soon as they could. Nintendo's doing really well for the most part. But they're things right now there's a shortage on Switches. They're getting scalped at the moment, which is really not cool. But yeah, China is the linchpin to way too much manufacture. And of course they were the start of this whole thing, so they're not in a great position at the moment for manufacture. So yeah, there's also the chips. Just besides the consoles themselves, it's the chips that go into them. And I know there are specific areas of China that are getting effed right now where that's a problem. So, like, China is highly relied on because of the cheap labor. It's amazing because of the cheap labor, like, they bring down costs and the consoles are still as expensive as they are, which is a crazy thing about it. I really don't expect Xbox to come out this Christmas. There's no way. Unless China just goes crazy.
If it does, it'll be undersupplied. Xbox Series X and PS5 will be undersupplied as shit.
I assume there's probably a contract, so they have to. And it's just going to be undersupplied, yeah, for sure. Thinking about it. Of course, there's a lot of just trying to find exceptions because of the quarantine. Like, a lot of businesses are trying to be like, hey, we can't really deliver, so exception? Like, come on.
Fortunately, at least in Xbox case, I don't know how this is going to work with PlayStation. I imagine they'll do something similar. But one of the big emphasis during the Inside Xbox presentation was smart delivery, they're calling it. It's basically just cross-buy. But they're doing cross-buy, so you can buy it on the previous gen, you'll get it on next gen for free. So if you can't get a Series X, just buy it on your Xbox One, play it there, and just hop right over when supplies become available.
Nice. That would have been nice with the older gens, that's for sure.
There was one or two games that did that on older generations, but it was very rare. Very rare. And that was usually a developer thing, not like a console thing.
Yeah,
Rocket League did that pretty heavily, didn't it? I believe Rocket League did it. I want to say Assassin's Creed Black Flag might have done it, because that was a cross-gen.
I don't know
that's
for
going
either
back.
of those instances, actually. Yeah, I don't know. For either of those instances.
And so the cross-buy will be something. Although that final note on that presentation, because on the one hand, I understand the tact they had to take. Do you remember Sony's initial presentation, the developer-centric one they did for PS5 with Mark Cerny? Did you keep an eye on that one at all a couple months ago?
That's been too long now. I don't remember jack about that one.
Well, that one was a very info dump heavy, not like glitz glamour. It was for devs, showing like, okay, here's the PS5, here's the features.
Okay.
The one bit that stuck out was they did a demo of Spider-Man for PS4. And they showed it like how fast you can swing through the streets on PS4 Pro. Then they did it on PS5 on their dev build. And the speed of Spider-Man was significantly increased. Mainly because they can load things in faster on the SSDs.
Okay.
Because SSDs are the big thing right now with PS5 and Xbox One. Xbox Series X is supposed to be the loading speeds.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that'll be something to consider. How, like, Final Fantasy VII Remake, there's so many sections in that game, from what I understand, which are just, like, sliding through a gap slowly to let the next area load. Like, those can be gone on the PS5 versions. Just boom, gone.
It's interesting, the evolution of that. I don't remember who started it, but just evolution of, well, I remember PlayStation 1. You put on a game, and it's like, all right, it's got to load. 15 minutes later, you actually get to play the game. I remember those days. I am old. And then it was like, all right, well, load times are now 5 minutes. It still takes a while, but you get the game. That was PS2. And then it became, at some point, someone figured out. I know Batman did it. I assume before Batman, someone else did it too, where you would walk down a hallway, but it's actually loading the game as you're walking down the hallway. Batman Arkham Asylum did that. I'm sure some games did it before him. Like newer,
streaming it in.
Yeah, like newer versions would be like God of War does it, where he's just getting through the plants and going over to things. That's how they're loading stuff as you're getting into it.
the boat sections are heavy loading.
Yeah.
All the boat sections we are traveling from, like the
Oh,
main hub area to like the area involved with the dead giant.
yeah.
Like that is a big loading section. Like
Mhm.
any of the boat things really are just
Yeah.
loading.
Like speaking of Mass Effect 1, the elevators were loading sections. Never
Oh,
realized it. Makes sense.
that's a fair point. If a remaster does happen, Scarf, what are they going to do with the elevators? Because you could just load faster.
I assume
Are
they
they gonna
just.
are they gonna artificially let you stay in the elevators for the conversations? Will there be a button like? Will the elevator go up and you can hit a button to skip it, or they let you stay to hear the conversations? Because the
That,
elevator conversations were some of the best bits.
yeah, the elevator conversations were really good. I assume they'll just do the elevator conversations, or
Hmm.
they don't pay attention and yeah, it just cuts out the conversations. It's always possible
Hmm.
when it comes to a remaster. Because I can remember just small example is like Dragon Ball Budokai. When you played it originally on like PS2, I think it was PS2, not PS1. Like the game's loading, so you could just click like hit X really fast or whatever, and you'll have like Vegeta do push-ups or Goku will pull out turnips, radishes or whatever. In the new version, it's you got enough time to do one push-up. Like that's how fast you're loading the game now. Because of course. So I'm just thinking of that instance of just loading, but it's fully possible they don't even think about it, and yeah, the cutscene, the elevator conversations just get cut off. Fully possible.
Or worse, you remember how older PS2 and like not I didn't play Dreamcast, I didn't have one, but like
Hmm.
Dreamcast era games put a lot of their like tutorials on loading screens.
Oh God, they did.
What happens if the loading screen's too fast to read the tutorial?
I know there was a game when they remastered it. They had that, and you didn't get to play the loading screen game at all. Oh my God, that would be unfortunate. I think. Okay, one game actually they had let it be. If you want to play the game, you can, and then if you don't, you can just hit this button to skip and skip the loading screen and go into the game. But I don't remember what game it was. Wonderful 101 had that actually. Wonderful
Ah,
101 had it while we're loading, and this was in like Wii U. If there's a really big section while it's loading, you could practice things in that. And they're like, if you want to keep practicing, you can. If you want to just go play the game, you hit this button. And so since it's getting remastered now, that's probably going to be completely skipped or maybe optional still to do for sure. But that takes me back to PlayStation 1 for like Tekken. I think like Tekken 2, you got to play Galaga while it's loading. I remember that. So it's just interesting how load things have changed where it was play a game or you just wait and now it's maybe we don't even have loading anymore. Or even the conceit of not loading because of
al-
SSDs.
although there's some interesting design implications because think about fighting games, for example, like the online matchmaking for fighting games.
Hmm.
If you can load so fast, could you just have perpetual fights? Perhaps maybe they figure out a system where you could be playing, you finish your fight, and then as like the victory screen is happening, it silently matchmakes you in the background, connects you. The only thing that could restrict you would be the connection speed on the
Yeah.
servers.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that victory screen's over, you hit find new opponent and you're straight back into the next game
I would love that.
without having to wait. That could be big for fighting games.
I would love that because it's not even like the loading of the game. It's more the interconnection than anything. But there is some loading, so yeah. But I would love that. It's just you put in you just want a marathon mode kind of thing. And you just
Yeah, you just
everyone
want to
just
grind
marathon
it
each
out.
other. That would be so
Yeah,
fun.
sort of.
You don't get to take a
And
break.
then like racing games, like racing games could have big implications of that because a lot of racing games have an open world twinge to them now. Like when's the last racing game that's functioned like Gran Turismo? You could have racing games have more of a flow in terms of the course design because you could take it through various parts of the world that don't have to have like a conspicuous choke that you have to go through to cover the
Hmm.
next section loading. The crew had that in their recreation of America. There was a couple conspicuous places where, oh, I'm going over the Rockies. Oh, there's only like two entrances or exits because you had to disguise loading in like Albuquerque or something,
Hmm.
or like wherever's near the Rockies.
Yeah.
My U.S. geographical knowledge is not great, but
Let's see, Rockies are
yeah,
Colorado. Okay, I see. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
Uh,
and yep, like just make things more free flow. Devs do what they want more because you can load things in faster.
it like I feel like it's just more for single player than multiplayer. I think. Or well, Yeah, I
You
think
are correct on a fundamental level. Yeah, it would benefit single player more, but that benefits multiplayer too.
because it in the way it have to benefit multiplayer is that it's fast enough to know that, well, what's happening in the first on this one, if there's destructible terrain or whatever, it knows that this is going to be affected here as well. I don't know, because I'm thinking of the way things are done right now and how you do have some differences. Like Monster Hunter has that a little bit where you're both fighting the same instance at the same time, but little things will be different as the messages are going back and forth. It
Yeah.
does happen, but the implications of SSDR is mostly just, well, things just you don't have to worry about loading, which has always been, it's like not loading is always fun, and just the conceits of things that don't let you realize you're loading has also been a thing.
There is a big problem though with the Series X that I've found out. Well, initially SSD have a problem themselves. Price to space ratio is way off for SSDs still compared to hard drives.
Oh yeah.
You can get a 2-3 terabyte hard drive for like 2 digits easily, but an SSD is still pretty expensive. And especially for size, if you want like a 2 or 3 terabyte SSD, that's 3 digits easily.
Yeah.
And like even like it'll be under $500, but it'll still be expensive.
Yeah.
And
Funny thing is trying to remember it. I don't remember how much the SSDR I bought for this for the computer was, but I remember I just bought a 1 tera hard drive last week, and it was just like $50. I remember
yeah,
when that was like 100 or 200. That was a long time ago, but still, it's just so SSDR whenever they get cheaper, but they're trying to push it now. So, but it
the
is the rumor was what Xbox is going to be not Xbox, PlayStation is going to be like what 700 now. That's the rumor.
yeah, something
though.
like that. That was the rumor. I'm more concerned about with the spaces because it's confirmed that Xbox Series X will have, or at least I believe it's confirmed, to have a terabyte SSD in it. But if you want to expand the SSD, it's got a memory card slot on the back. An old school memory card. You can buy a special like Seagate Xbox partnership SSD that could fit in that slot as an expansion. So you can get an extra terabyte. And that's important because yes, you could link up a hard drive to it that you've got and just install games on there. But it's been confirmed for Xbox, and I imagine PS4 will have the same thing as well for ease of making for the devs. Get certain games will expect to be ran on that SSD to work properly. Like
That's true.
cross-gen games, no, because of course you've got to expect a hard drive. But the bare minimum will be an SSD for a lot of games going forward because it has an internal SSD. So like they're expecting to be able to load things fast for the function of the game. So if like games are like, say, for example, the humongous behemoth of a game that is Call of Duty Modern Warfare right now, that game is getting into several hundred gigs with some of its
Ooh.
newest patches.
Yeah.
Like that game on Xbox One, like on my Xbox One, I have that. It's about like 160 something gigs, like 170. And even though you can slice off certain bits, the average internal hard drive on a default Xbox One is like 500 gigabytes. That's like almost half for
Yeah.
one game. Like, what's going on there? Size could be an issue.
Yeah, they're getting a bit much with the size. Uh, I think that yeah, that's what every console relies on the SD cards. They really do. I don't remember how much is the one I have for my Switch, but they have it, and then these guys are going to have it. One thing to keep in mind, at least as far as PlayStation goes, because I don't, well, they all do it, but I think PlayStation's been best known for it is, as they go forward, the consoles have new iterations. They just keep making better and better versions of the consoles on the inside. And so, like, as SSDRs get cheaper and such, or we might get, like, what we got with the last generation, which was, like, what was it? What was that? Xbox One S, or was it?
It was Xbox One, then Xbox One S and X.
Yeah.
The S was like the new improved version that was not like the 1.5 upgrade, and then the X here, which was like the Project Scorpio. That
Yeah.
was the 4K machine.
Yeah.
No.
If there's anything I'm going to have weak depth on, it's going to be on Xbox, because I just have a PC. So I'm not going to remember that too well. Now, I know PlayStation does that too. They have some of that iteration as well. And that's just been a thing they've done since, I believe. I know PlayStation
Yeah,
2 is where.
PS4 Pro. The PS4
Yeah.
Pro was the 1.5 for
Yeah.
PlayStation 4.
I know PlayStation 1 they didn't do it. PlayStation 2, I think, is where they started doing iterations of consoles. Was for at least PlayStation. Sony started. I think Xbox did it from the start. And I actually don't know about Nintendo. I don't think they ever change for that much until more recently, starting with I think I can't be the Switch. I think it's more 3DS or the 2DS when they started doing it. Honestly, but that is not my wheelhouse to know. But I think that's as far back as I can remember. On just there's new iterations because parts get cheaper and everything, and they know what they're doing. So honestly, the first year of both these consoles, I wouldn't be surprised if they're not great. Because there's always the memories of like the red circle of death back in the day with Xbox and
Oh
things like that,
lord.
and just
I've
consoles
been
getting
a victim
bricked.
of the red circle. Like, oh my lord, my brother got hit by it too. All my friends did. Red circle was a thing. Hopefully, we don't get any of that with next generation. Or the amber light of doom on PlayStation. Initially, there was the amber light of doom
Oof.
that
Like
I heard of.
for me, I think if you can hold out, the first year is usually when the consoles are just volatile, and then after that they know what they're doing. But people want to play the games when they can play them as soon as they can. So, but just those consoles have a chance of being a bad investment the first year.
Potentially.
Yeah.
Yeah, I will if I can at least pick up the new Xbox because a lot of my friends are in that ecosystem, so I'll give it a go. Although I will also want to pick up a new PlayStation because God of War 4 PS5 remaster. Hello, that's an excuse to replay that game. That'll be hype.
Hmm.
Although speaking of games, I do want to quickly discuss something now, or rather things that are out now. We're kind of in a mini tactical renaissance between new XCOM Chimera Squad, and Gears Tactics. Both of those games are great. Gears Tactics might be Game of the Year contender, potentially, because
Really?
it's made Gears of War jump to a new subgenre, did it well, and kind of slightly redefined how the genres play, because XCOM Chimera Squad did make some significant changes,
Yeah.
but Chimera Squad is it's a side spin-off. It's allowing Firaxis to experiment because they're using the initiative turn order now instead of the traditional your turn, enemy turn, your turn, enemy turn.
Yeah.
And they're trying out the breaching system. Encounters are like individual rooms that you breach into instead of one big map that you have to traverse.
Yeah.
Like Gears Tactics does it. XCOM 2 did it.
Hmm.
And it's definitely an XCOM abridged style. There's things with it I like, things that I don't. It's all hero characters with no permadeath, so you can't make any customized troopers, which for streamers sucks because that's one of the best bits. Is just
Yeah.
spending half an hour making all the characters for your viewers who want them, and then just
Yeah.
marching them into battle.
It's really fun making characters of your viewers. They're really rooting for their characters, and then you accidentally get them killed in the first turn. It's amazing. It's always amazing. That was because I was like, all right, well, let's play XCOM Chimera. Everyone in, let's make some characters. Like, wait, we don't get to make characters. What? Wait, we can't make. And then like half the room left. Like, oh, come on, guys, come on.
Hmm.
But it's still
But the
a fun
characters
game.
there are great though.
Yeah.
Like, name like one of your favorite hero characters
Torque.
from XCOM Chimera so far. Torque.
Yeah. Straight up Torque.
Sassy. Bloody
Wait, what?
sassy snake.
Yeah.
It's just
She, I wouldn't be surprised if she dies at the end of the game because she's totally the Mexican character. She really is. She's just the angry Mexican character. She's Morales. What's her name? Michelle Rodriguez. She's her. That's who she is.
she's Michelle Rodriguez.
And she's died in how many movies? Like, that's her character. It really is. She's so angry and aggressive at everyone. But yeah, Torque's my favorite.
Like Axiom's one of my favorites. Axiom, the Muton. Then you've got people like Blue Blood, who is just the most chill, honest dude there, who could wipe out an entire room with a pistol, but he's still chill. And then there's like Cherub, who's this innocent guy who ex-Advent soldier. Like they did a good job with nailing the personalities on the hero troops in that.
I like Verge. Verge is pretty fun.
Verge.
just his story of he was one of the thin men from one. Like, holy crap, really? And then
he was a sectoid. Verge was a
oh,
sectoid,
he's a sector. No,
and
I swear they said he was a thin man, and then he became something else. Like he's been messed with.
I know,
It makes more sense if he's
yeah,
a sectoid, honestly.
the story with Verge is he's a sectoid because he has the mind, he has the psionic
Yeah,
powers.
that's the thing. He's got sonic powers.
And he was in the initial wave not to invade, but to try and influence the population to like the Advent and the aliens.
Yeah.
And he accidentally learned empathy from invading humans' minds, and he's like,
Yeah.
oh, shit.
I think
So
that's
because of
gotta
that,
be.
he then turned.
Yeah, it makes more sense that he's a sectoid because he is a sectoid. But I swear I read him being a thin man. I'm like, that's weird. He went
It's
from
because
thin man
he's the adult sector. He's not the small
Yeah.
squat sector you're used to. He's the big one. So you think he's like, oh, is he a thin man? Like, no, he is a sectoid.
I gotta go back in the game now. But
yeah.
he's just an interesting. He was like, oh, I'm the a-hole. Oh, okay. And then just helping out the humans. Like that's an interesting character, or just the characters who were just human the whole time and just what they were dealing with. But definitely Torque's my favorite. As mean as she is, she's my favorite. Though Patchwork is amazing. Like my favorite combo is Terminal and Patchwork because Terminal gives an extra turn. Patchwork, I hack a mech, and then I kill 2 androids. In just the first like 2 turns between the 2 of them. She just does a bunch of work.
Action economy is so dumb in Chimera Squad, especially if you get lucky like I did, and on the scavenger market, you get your hands on a Motal Inducer, which you throw at someone as a free action,
Ooh.
and it hits a teammate, it'll give them an extra turn, or it gives you an extra 2 actions, essentially a full turn.
Yeah.
Because Terminal gives a bonus action with her cooperation. You can give 2 more actions, full actions, with the Motal Inducer.
Holy crap,
You
okay.
can then use the team-up ability that you get to use once a mission to bring someone up the timeline to behind you.
Yeah.
So you can just start stacking things. And my strategy by the end of the game was bring Axiom, bring Verge, bring Axiom, bring Verge, bring Cherub, bring Terminal. And we just man mode it using as little resources as possible through the first couple encounters, get to the final one, and then, okay, Terminal goes first. Cooperation, Axiom, move him forward a bit. Then Motal Inducer, Adrenaline Surge, Max Rage, starts smashing people, causing panic everywhere. If he gets shot by someone, he has a chance of reducing it to 1 damage because... And then he uses all his stuff, because then, of course, he can get an ability in his tree where his smashes don't end his turn, so he can do 2 smashes.
Yeah.
Then you throw the team up on him to bring it up the turn order again, and just do it again.
Yep.
There was one mission where I managed to do 8 or 9 attacks in one go.
Woo.
Before an enemy got even anywhere close to getting a turn, because it's initiative. So 8 or 9 attacks by the friendlies before an alien got their turn. Complete dumbness, but I love it.
That's the thing I found with Chimera Squad is it's possible to have just ridiculous, really good turns in that game. But you can, if you let it get out of hand, you can get overwhelmed too, which I like too. There are difficulty spikes in the game, not like XCOM 1 and 2. This one feels more manageable, where if you play things right, you're good, but if you mess up, things can get really bad real fast, which I appreciate, because you still got this
game, but it lets you feel more aggressive, because there's no permadeath.
Especially because
you're guarding one city. Just one city instead of the whole world.
Yeah. Like, it's just... That's why it's $20, because it's a smaller game. I feel like it was them trying to do proof of concept in a lot of ways.
I got it for £9 because they're doing a sale when it was first announced. And if you pre-ordered it, you got it for, cheap.
Ooh, nice.
So I got it for £9. It was great.
Yeah, for the first week it was $10, which was nice.
Yeah.
So I got it. I got that too. But it's just a nice proof of concept. I feel like they were just making things. I feel like they were just let's just make some concepts, see how it works out, and this is actually pretty fun. Let's make a game out of it. That's really what it felt like. It's perfectly possible that's what it was while they're working on 3, just coming with different ideas. Because the breach idea is really cool, and just all these different things with that, and then just there's a lot of the same old class stuff, but some new ideas to some of the classes, and also just being able to use alien units is a whole new thing that's been fun. So I really think that's what it was. Which yeah, that's usually what happens is when you're making new concepts, you're making new games to try to prove the concepts, and they're making money out of it. It's really fun. I like it a lot. And to the point that I'm liking so much, I'll probably play it again on higher difficulty and everything. Yeah.
I'm looking forward if they release a DLC for it. Put in more
More
put in more
factions and stuff.
troopers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd like to see them put in a thin man, like you said, bring in a thin man. Allow you to play as maybe as some sort of thin man, or maybe play as perhaps a berserker somehow. Somehow they managed to like enslave a berserker,
Maybe.
and there's all kinds of things you could do, or even start building robots. Build your own sector pod.
Oh jeez.
Them in. The long boy
Oh
raises
my
a missile
God.
rain down.
That'd be nuts. Well, isn't Zephyr basically a berserker? I thought Zephyr's a berserker.
Zephyr's basically a Templar from XCOM 2 War of the Chosen.
Now-
Zephyr from I didn't recruit Zephyr, but
I gotta remember.
I looked at gameplay afterwards, and she is a Advent Trooper,
Yeah.
I believe. She's like the cherub sort of look.
She,
like
yeah, she
half
looks
hybrid.
Yeah, she's a hybrid,
And she's all about running around and just slashing people
yeah.
with melee.
She's full on melee. That's why I thought she was a berserker. Because
I'm talking
but she's
about the
not
berserker
muton, though.
mutons that are just muscle.
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
huge
yeah.
people.
Yeah, she's hybrid. She's not muton. Yeah, now to think about it, yeah, mutons were berserkers. Yeah. And then it would be cool to just see more factions. Like they could do more factions so that it's whenever you start a new game, it's just randomly which factions you get to fight. Maybe something like that. There's some potential there. There really is. And I hope they build on that because it's just a fun game. And at $20, they could try to get more money out of us for sure.
Yeah, I buy a DLC for Chimera Squad immediately. Like that was the best £9 I've ever spent in my life recently. Like, I've bought Chinese's like takeout that cost more than that.
Yeah.
And that lasts me for maybe an hour or two at most.
It's when you try to quantify money, it's interesting when you think about it where like just say like a burger is like $5 and you could spend this $5 on some smaller games, or you could spend the $5 on like a subscription. There's so many things you could spend $5 on. It's just one burger. It's one less burger if you spend this $5 on something else or something like that, or two less burgers if you go for $10. Where for the price of two burgers, you can play XCOM when it first came out, XCOM Chimera Squad, and it'd be worth it because it's a pretty fun game. But talking about tactics, you're saying there's also Gears of War tactics, which I'm curious about.
Yeah, Gears Tactics is good.
Really, because I saw it like because it's to the space where I can look at games and see if I'm interested and see if I can get a free copy. I can probably still get a free copy at this point, maybe. But I saw like Gears Tactics, the hell, and then I just totally went over it. It's good.
Yeah, Gears
though.
Tactics. It's the story. You don't need to worry about too much if you're not into Gears or not familiar with it because it doesn't use characters that are at least that I've played so far. I haven't beat the game yet. I'm like maybe a quarter of like maybe halfway through because I've been playing it on stream like for fun. This is the game that and Chimera Squad got me back into streaming after a long break. And Gears Tactics, it's all new characters for the most part. You're playing as the dad. One of your main characters is the dad of the female protagonist from Gears 4 and 5, Kate. His name's Gabe Diaz. So there's a connection there, and there's some fun things here and there for fans. Like, for example, the game starts during a section in the game's lore where the locusts came up from the ground. They're taking over the planet. It's not going well, and the coalition of ordered Gears, the government decides, okay, if we can't have our cities, you can't either, and use basically laser beams from space to scorch their own planet. Like all their cities self-scorch, and the game starts there. And so there's some fun implications in terms of lore because I am like quite a big of a fan of Gears. So it's nice to be able to play that. There's certain characters that pop back up Like Chairman Prescott shows up at one point. Different. It's Liam O'Brien who voiced him this time. Yeah, I forget the name of the voice actor who voiced Prescott before, but he did a very iconic voice. But now it's Liam O'Brien. It's like anytime you hear Matt Mercer or Chad Willingham, it's like, yeah, it's that character, but you can immediately tell it's like Matt Mercer or Chad Willingham or Liam O'Brien or Ashley Johnson. Ow! I just came myself on my desk. Yeah, like so that kind of voice actor effect ends up happening. But the gameplay itself is super good because it doesn't use the XCOM style on a grid of you move or do a bonus action then shoot. It's not the 2-stage system. It's AP. And everyone starts with 3 AP. And you can spend it on 2 movements and then shoot. You could shoot. You could move. You could move, shoot, move. Or you could, like, throw a grenade, use an ability, shoot, Overwatch. Like, there's much more freedom in that because everything has a cost to it.
And nothing automatically ends your turn, right? So.
Nothing automatically ends your turn, I believe, unless you Overwatch. Overwatch will end your turn.
Okay, because you know, like XCOM, it's the moment you attack, your turn is over. That's.
Yeah.
Huh. Cool.
Or, it is very, very like aggressive because of the AP system. The enemies also judiciously use Overwatch themselves, and if they've got 3 AP available, they get 3 shots in Overwatch. And because Overwatch in Gears is a cone that you designate your person to shoot in, that changes depends on the weapon.
Yeah.
If you're using a sniper, it's a very thin cone, but it goes for miles. So you could have a hallway you're trying to guard, just post your sniper down at the other end of it. Anyone that tries to come down that hallway is getting their head taken off.
Nice.
And yeah, if he's got the AP to do it and he doesn't miss. So that's immediately a big change. Overwatch is a much more higher factor because the enemy uses it a lot. One of the biggest risks in the game is leaving 2 people too close together. Enemy gets a flank on you, you burning 2 of their movement or 2 AP for movement, and then Overwatch is for the 3rd. Now all of a sudden, if I take any action, I could be shot. And if my guy is shot, his action is wasted because it's interrupted. And then that's an AP gone right there. So it's very fun to mess with that system because the game uses a function called waypointing that you can very, very minutely plot where your character moves. So you can dance through Overwatch grids to get to exactly where you need to be. And for Gears fans out there, the snub pistol. Everyone's got a snub. Basically, your basic Gears pistol. But in Tactics, it's got a disabling shot feature that you can use on a pretty heavy cooldown. And if it hits an enemy, it cancels their Overwatch. So you can use that to free people. So in enemy turns, almost turn into a puzzle where you got to think, okay, I've got all of this available to me. Let me think the correct order to do things. Do I want to send my Vanguard in with a Retro Lancer, basically just a really heavy, meaty assault rifle with a bayonet on the front, to run in and then use his Intimidate ability where he yells and cancels all the Overwatch of people nearby? Do I want to use my Medic to Disabling Shot, which may miss because he's in a bad position? Or I could have my Sniper use Concussive Shots to disable someone's action, including Overwatch, from range. But that's less damage, which you could potentially use to go murder the Boomer who's coming to kill you with a giant grenade launcher because he's lumbering his way over the bridge. Like, there's a lot of things to consider. And the game revels in its aggression. For example, in Gears, are you familiar? Have you seen Gears gameplay at all, Scarf?
A little bit. Not a lot. I think Gears 4 or 5. That's it.
Yeah. You may be familiar with, like, the down but not out state, where, like, if you shoot someone in Gears enough, if it's not like a headshot, an explosive kill, or an insta-jib, they'll go down on one knee. They're down but not out. Classic Gears thing. Same thing in this. If you shoot someone, if it's not like overkill, a headshot, or explosive damage, they'll go down but not out, enemies included. They can be picked up, but if you can get someone close enough, you can do an execution. Classic Gears execution. And if you do it, everyone on your team, except for the person who executed them, gets an extra AP. And there's no limit to this. So you can, if you've got enough people down, send one dude out to execute 3 people, and all of a sudden, your sniper back there has 6 shots available. or you can get your machine gun dude with a mulcher to just set up on a wall, overwatch the hallway with 6 potential shots, and this giant swarm of wretches coming in, he just blasts them all down because he had 6 shots available to him.
Nice.
So aggression is heavily rewarded in this game. Not dumb aggression, though, just aggression. Like, you want people to go in, get near cover, throw a frag grenade to kill 2 people, and then move in for an extra shot or put an overwatch up. It's not like Gears or like XCOM 2, where you were, okay, everyone move up a couple squares and overwatch. It's not like that. Especially considering that Gears Tactics doesn't work on a grid system, it's freeform.
That's
So you have to use your judgment on whether you think someone will get a shot on you or not. You can tell if you move someone if you'll have line of sight, you get an indicator for it. But you can't precisely map where explosions are going to be. And that sort of thing. You've got to make judgment calls a lot more frequently.
Well, now I got to make sure I request to see if I can get a free copy of that game now.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, I'm really interested in that. That makes me think of, I'm going to say like Phantom Brave. But moving back to tactics, do you think, because I have an example, do you think versus XCOM could work?
They already tried that. XCOM 1 and 2 have multiplayer modes.
They do? I didn't know that.
And it's a point-buy system where you can assemble a squad, including aliens. So you could literally do, okay, I'm going to build a couple cheap XCOM guys, but bring in an ethereal for $8,000. And so my squad is, okay, everyone protect the ethereal. Or you could run a bunch of sectoids and muton and one really good sniper from XCOM for your team. So your sniper's picking people off as a muton charge in. You could do that.
Versus?
Like, there was a versus in XCOM 1 and 2.
I guess I just never noticed it because I was too busy playing the single player.
Yeah, it's like, who goes into the multiplayer? But it did have one.
Huh. Because the reason why I asked this is because there is a game that's focused 100% around XCOM style gameplay in versus, and it's called Dreadlands.
Oh.
And it is published by Fat Shark, who are the ones who are doing Vermintide and Warhammer End Times. Warhammer End Times Vermintide. I think that's the full title. But yeah, it's the first game they're publishing, and it's basically XCOM versus, but not very good. But it's an early access, so maybe it'll get better. But it's like shots in that game, even Overwatches, are like coin flip basically. 50% chance. The game has a lot of emphasis on running and on meleeing though. So it's like, it feels, I don't know, it doesn't feel like a great strategic game. It just feels like whoever can rush faster sooner wins it. So I'm really curious about how an XCOM game could do versus, but apparently there is one. So apparently I never noticed, and now I've learned something new today. Not going to re-download it 1 or 2 to look at it though, but still.
Look up some YouTube footage if you can of the multiplayer.
Okay.
There was some weird battles you could do in that.
Interesting. Did not know. I had no idea. Oops. But okay, so I need to check out Gears of War Tactics now. Okay, I totally slept on that one. I definitely did.
Tell you what, though, thinking about it immediately, like tactics-wise, we've got Gears, we've got XCOM Chimera. I would like to see what could be done with other brand new tactics games coming in, because we've had a few, like Shadow Samurai Tactics or something. There was like a...
Oh yeah, that game.
It was more of a stealth game, but it was isometric tactics. I don't remember the exact name of it, but it was there.
Yeah, you got it pretty close. I think it's Shadow Tactics. That came out last year, I think. And I did not play it. I know I tried to get a copy of it, but I'm just looking up Shadow Tactics now. Another one was... honestly, it was pretty good, was the Nintendo one. Freaking Ubisoft, Rabbids and was it?
Yes,
that game was actually really good.
Mario Rabbids like XCOM game.
Yeah,
came out of left field during E3. It's like, oh, they've got like bloody Yves Guillemot pulling I forget the name of the Mario creator. Oh god, I keep want to call him Sakurai, but no, that's Smash.
That's Kirby,
What
yeah.
was
Shigeru
who's
Miyamoto.
the yeah, like Eve Guillemot pushing his in case of emergency summon Shigeru Miyamoto E3 button, calls him to the stage again, but instead of the Star Fox crossover, it's a Mario slash Rabbids XCOM title,
Everyone's like, what
and
the
it's like,
hell?
and it's good.
Yup.
It's like what?
That was a
But
good game.
it apparently was really good.
Yeah, it was really good. It's the second game I got, I'm pretty sure, or third game. The first game had to be Mario Kart. Can't remember what else there was when the Switch came out. And then Rabbids. Or Rabbids was the second game. It was a solid game. It was a good game. Now, here we go. Shadow Tactics Blades of the Shogun. 10 out of
There we
10. Freaking 10 out of 10 on Steam. 92% on PC Gamer. 96% on Google reviews. Early access was 2016, but I know it came out more recently. Published by Daedalic and Calypso, which are two really good publishers. So, and then developer is Mimimi.
Mimimi?
Mimimi. There we go. Mimimi Games. There we go. That's the way to put it. So, M-I. There we go. And it is, of course, it's used on GameStop for $10. I don't know how much it is on Steam. Where is it? It's $40 on Steam. Still, 10 out of 10 rating. That's a rating right there. There's no way it came out 4 years ago. I swear it was an early access first. And they're not giving me the early access date. But apparently that game's amazing. So now I gotta look at this game. Alright. More tactics games to check out. Tactics games are fun, so... What do you... Okay, so we have the quarantine happening right now.
Yes.
Do you think this is the best time for MMOs? Or, honestly, it's the best time for gaming in general, but do you think this is a really good time for MMOs? I think it would be.
Double-edged sword, in my opinion. Everyone's inside, so it's more time for MMOs. On the other hand... One, you've got to try and develop an MMO during quarantine.
Yeah, I guess this is the time to hurry that up a little bit. Developing time.
And also, there's not only is there more people inside to play things, there's more things competing for that. Like, just as a random side example, streamers. The number of streams has gone up tremendously because everyone's giving it a go now. Because, they're stuck inside, so there's less viewers because people aren't, watching from work because they're at home.
Yeah.
Some people, there's still a good chunk of people that are because, they're working from home, so they have a stream up on the second monitor. But there's a lot more things competing for your attention now. Everyone's at home.
Funny fact,
Streaming
government servers ban Twitch.
They just lock it down.
Yeah, they don't ban YouTube, but they ban Twitch. Which is
I can understand that.
Because too many people use YouTube. And Twitch is more gaming focused. But it's like, maybe I should be streaming on YouTube.
Yeah, that, and also on top of that, YouTube may have a random guide that maybe someone needs to watch real quick for a random topic at work, which can be nice.
And also, just every job has some downtime, and YouTube is just something people can use for downtime for sure. But yeah, there's also just useful information on YouTube. Twitch is mostly a gaming focus, so no surprise they're banned on most government systems. Just ban Twitch. Yeah, it's just a funny fact. But yeah, everyone's streaming. I remember the thing was back in the day, you could totally believe that if I just had a streaming setup a couple of years sooner, maybe I could have been big kind of feeling. I know I have that feeling sometimes because I just remember how many years ago was it? 6 years ago. Back when there was only so many streamers, and just everyone had an audience because there was just a lot more viewers than there were streamers. But now it's easier to get the setup. There is just so many zero viewer streamers at this point. An amazing number of zero viewer streamers. And that's the thing is, it leads to a different subject I want to talk about. That is Valorant. What is your opinion on Valorant? With their artificial number game, because the only way to get into Valorant beta is if you're watching the stream and you have a random chance of getting the game through drops on Twitch by watching a stream. So there are streams that are like, here's just recorded gameplay footage and we're on 24/7 on there. And they get like 70,000 viewers and things like that. Like, what do you think of just that?
Valorant's Twitch directory right now, it's kind of a toxic place. It started that way when they announced the whole drop system, because everyone in chat, I mean, who is there to watch? There's a chunk of people there to watch people, like the big streamers pop off in Valorant. But if you look through the viewer list in Valorant streams, a lot of them are just Valorant give key 1, Valorant give key 2, please give Valorant 23.
Yeah.
People are there just to farm for keys. They aren't there for the streamers. For Honor has a somewhat similar thing. For Honor's Twitch directory is kind of desolate for the most part, to be entirely honest. Like, only a couple hundred at most, unless a bigger streamer hops in, like Strippin or Daddy Law or Clutchmeister are having a pretty good day.
Mm-hmm.
But when drops are active for, like, a new season, which Ubisoft always does, they put drops on, numbers spike for a while, because everyone just wants drops.
Yeah.
Makes the numbers look good, but it's kind of, at this point, almost legal view botting. Strategic view botting, it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Drops are. Because if you want guaranteed views, just throw drops up. And you're going to get viewers, but they aren't going to be engaged viewers who are there for the streamer. They are just AFKing in the page, and what difference is there from that and a view bot? Yeah. In my opinion. Like, there isn't.
100%. It's... I guess it's just the mindset in general with any giveaway. It's just... artificial numbering, is that really good in the long run? Kind of a thing. It makes you look good. You get the pride of, I got all these numbers for these things, but engagement is important. And just how much engagement are you really getting and things like that. Valorant's still number 1 right now with just like 300,000 more viewers than anything else. Still. And I'm like, oh, that's clever. You guys got the number 1 rank, but it's also this hollow number 1 rank, which is very unfortunate. It happened before with like YouTube, where it was like the most views in 24 hours or something like that, or just most views ever. No, not in 24 hours for a music video. Like, it was BTS had it, and then like an Indian rapper or something got it, and then they didn't recognize him, and it was because he was using, instead of viewer bots for this, it was more advertisements where they were counting if your advertisement got watched, even for a second, because it's an advertisement. You still have to watch like 5 seconds of it. They counted that as views. And so he didn't get the recognition. Thing was, BTS did it too. So did a lot of other music companies do that before. So it's just, part of this is just the name of the game is that inflation of numbers is just a thing. And maybe it does work because the big companies keep doing it. But what can the little guys do? They can't do that ever. They really can't. They can try to do a giveaway, but when does a giveaway ever give you engagement? Like, real engagement, after all. Still...
It's a tough situation, because from their perspective, drops are harmless. Because, like, you're giving away things, and you're getting views. Like, it's a win-win. What to complain about? But there's deeper systemic problems. Like, once the drops go away...
We're back!
Apologies about that. Apparently Riot Games was not happy with me criticizing them and cut the power out of my house for a split second. I'm good now. I'm back. There we go.
I was going to make that joke too, because it was the easy joke for sure.
Yes, I specifically was talking about if all of that stuff with views end up, the drops end up happening, you get this kind of stale environment. And what if if the drops were taken away from Valorant? Now that the hype's somewhat died down, now that people have been able to play it for a bit, I guarantee you that directory would drop. Directory, I'm a weather. That directory, let me pronounce my R's correctly, would drop below places like Counter-Strike Global Offensive, League of Legends, the normal frontrunners. And it's because of that.
I would assume it'd go under CSGO, because it's just CSGO again, but with powers. It's Overwatch, CSGO, and Siege. I think that's the best way to call it that. It's a combination of those three things, I think.
Dota's up there pretty frequently.
No, I mean just what Valorant is. I actually,
Oh, a
yeah, have you
shooter. Okay.
played Valorant or not? Or I don't know.
No,
Okay.
I don't play CS:GO, so
Hmm.
Valorant isn't up my alley either.
Yeah. So Valorant is CS:GO, like as the base with Overwatch powers and Siege. It's got some siegey things about it too, from like Rainbow Six Siege. It's got some things like that. So it's a combination of those three. It's not a bad game, but I wouldn't see it overtake CS:GO itself because the CS:GO people are just going to do CS:GO, and the League of Legends people, well, the Overwatch people are just going to do Overwatch, and the League of Legends people, they might check out Valorant, but I think they're more just League of Legends people. So, but there is some. Herb? Okay,
Yeah, I'm here.
okay. There is some. I think my side cut off for a second. There is some. What's the word I'm looking for here? There's going to be some people who enjoy this game. There's going to be some people going there from League of Legends. Like, this is their third game. TFT is their second game. TFT's got like a healthy little population. So I think Valorant will too. But I don't see it staying at number one. It's not that. It's fun, but it's not that amazing. I'm enjoying it. But if you're a CSGO purist, well, you're just going to do CSGO. That's really it. Especially because its gun style is kind of weird. So the way that game works is it's not a run and gun. It's more like if you move too much, your crosshairs get really big in that game. You can't just move and shoot. Like in Overwatch, Widowmaker, she's the sniper. You can move headshot, and like that. In this one, if you move and shoot, this shot goes all the way over there. That's how it works because you can't move and shoot in this game. You can still try. Your crosshairs just get really big, and you're relying on luck. So it's an interesting concept of more of positioning and moving a little bit and then going for your shots kind of thing, where it feels more like it's a Turtles game because of that. Because you're better off just sitting there and waiting for someone else to come in and get shot.
Yeah.
It's just an interesting idea. But I think overall, because of that, it'll do well because it's a League of Legends game. It's Riot. But I don't think it's going to be number one. I think League of Legends will keep taking that spot. And CSGO will keep taking that spot. And on occasion Dota, which is usually during the international is what it's called, I think. Because the prize
Dota
pool
2,
for
the international got closed down. Like that got
of
cancelled
course
too because of COVID.
everything.
Yeah. So the big thing with Dota though specifically,
Mhm.
a large majority of players, a large percentage of players' earnings come from the international.
Yeah,
So now the international's cancelled,
yeah,
and no way will you want to hold a multi-million-dollar prize pool thing digitally, like and have it have prestige. It's the same reason why Evo, the fighting game championship, wants to do online Evo. Like, there's a whole kettle of
forgot
fish
about
there with
that.
hacking, coaching. Like, a lot of games don't have great netcode online. Like, the best qualified game for online is either Street Fighter V Champion Edition
Mhm.
or Mortal Kombat 11. They're the only real, and Killer Instinct, who is the king of netcode.
So many
Killer
games have
Instinct.
so many fighting games have awful netcode. It's very weird considering what they are. Like if there's a game that should be relying on really good netcode, it should be Fighters, for the love of God. But nope. Yeah, Evo being online is insane. Like you get, of course, you want to still do it, but the problem with the gaming world is if you fully online, there's too much cheating. There's too much cheating. There really is. If you, any opening to cheating, that's why esports are local. That's why they're always local if they can, because of that.
Oh, that
Well, the big money
yeah,
prizes, I mean.
you just jogged my memory. We're starting to get close to the point where we should probably start rounding out, but I very quickly want to mention the Valorant issue with their cheating, specifically their anti-cheat.
Oh
The
yeah.
Valorant anti-cheat. Holy cow, is that problematic?
Mhm.
Like, there are third-party servers in CS:GO that have, like, ESEA has, and Face It has some pretty invasive anti-cheat, but Valorant. Oh, that is literally stopping you from opening things like MSI Afterburner if the game isn't even running.
Mhm.
Like, really? Giving them kernel level access, and also on top of that, they're disabling programs while the game isn't even open. Like,
I I let it happen just because I'm like, all right, fine, fine. I'm trying it out. It's what's gonna happen because some other games are gonna do these eventually.
Yeah.
But the excuses they gave were ridiculous. It was like, hey, we got enough information. We can hack you anytime we want. Don't say that. Don't say that. They straight up said that. I'm like, really? Because, yeah, they have your account. Every company has a lot of your information. Every company has, like, if you access, obviously, if you buy a game digitally, Steam has quite a bit of information on you. Steam has a bunch of information on you. Nintendo's eShop has information on you. They could easily be like, well, here's your credit card information and all these things, and they could screw you over. So same thing with Riot. Problem is who owns Riot? That's the problem. And who owns the owners of Riot? Even bigger problem. So you feel a lot of concern. For this one, it's like, I'll put the trust on this one just because I'm dumb enough to like, well, I need to cover this game, so I guess so. It's whatever piece you want to make with it, and the piece I made with it is, well, I'm going to cover it, and then I'm going to get rid of it.
I'm more concerned about the whole idea of it blocking programs while the game isn't open. Like, I'm sorry, you don't get to do that. If I want to check my GPU temperatures, you don't get to stop me.
Yeah,
especially if you're not, like, your game is not open. No, that is not okay.
Yeah. This is the problem, is poor implementation always happens. And that's poor implementation. Because the problem is, it's the whole situation. The way I put it when I first heard it was, the only way to stop, well, if you want to stop cheating, you have to keep going further because they're going to keep going further. And hackers have no morals, so that's unfortunate. So you have to go deeper than them, and you go into that degree. That's as far as you can go because you have to go that far. But who watches the watchers kind of situation? That's the whole thing. I'm like, fudge, fine. I just have to be extra careful what's going on my computer right now, but all right. And that's what I'm doing. Not doing anything really important on my computer at the moment while I have Valorant on it. But yeah, how deep they are is concerning. And this is the thing with any big game company, because you can always look at EA as well. You could totally consider that EA was probably going to get to this point as well at some point. And they very well may still, in the future, get to this point as well. And that's a lot of people who are... When EA does it, a lot of people are just going to accept it. And a lot of people are going to fight it as well. And then EA will back off. And then in a year, they're going to do it again. And then we all accept it that time. Like, that's what's going to happen. The big game companies always push it. And then they back off. Then they push it. Then they back off. Then they push it. Then they back off. And then we get used to it. We got used to loot boxes. We got used to DLC. We got used to a lot of things. And at some point, this is going to happen. I'm not happy about that. I don't know. At some point, it's just going to happen. That's not a great note. This is not a great note at all.
Slightly happier note to end the show on then. I'm pleased that even though COVID-19 is causing game development a lot of issues, we're going to be getting a couple month-long, basically, E3. Between Inside Xbox, the State of Plays for PlayStation, Nintendo Treehouses, if they end up doing that, like, style of thing. Like, there's all sorts of things that could be coming down the pipeline. And I have to imagine Nintendo don't want to get drowned out between Xbox and the PlayStation juggernaut coming out of hibernation to play for this generation. Nintendo's going to want to announce some stuff too. Maybe even like, because they've already got Nintendo Switch Lite. Maybe they want to announce like a Switch 0.5 or whatever.
It would be interesting to see. The problem is well, they have the shortage issue too. Everyone uses China. Everyone goes through China for their consoles. So what can you really announce and what can you really do right now? It's gonna be.
I'm happy though that we're getting something.
Yeah, because there has to be something. Like, you can't stop. If you stop, you're not making money. And I don't know. I feel like anything physical is going to be in trouble for the time being. So it's going to be a lot of digital pushes. At least I think the smart move is to do a lot of digital pushing. That's got to be. But I don't know what the heck. we're not going to get a vaccine for, although everyone's pushing vaccines. Vaccines normally take 10 years. We're trying to speed it up times 10. Like, everyone wants to get a vaccine done within a year.
2021 minimum.
Yeah, like, we're not getting it this year, we're getting it next year. If we get one this year, someone made an amazing breakthrough, and they probably broke some laws. Some very important laws.
I have a funny feeling ethics committees are going to have some moments where they feel powerless. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, ethics is in
Damn it,
trouble.
that's also another depressing note. God damn it.
Well,
Yay, Kirby! Ugh.
oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
On a different note, it was Kirby's 20th anniversary last month.
Oh, yay.
Random thing. Kirby's had a new game or a remake or something every year besides 1998. Every single year. So we haven't had a Kirby game this year yet. So I'm curious what's going to happen. Unless this is
What was the last one?
Extra Epic Yarn. So that was a remake. That was 2019. Or that was, maybe it was, no, that was 2019. 2018 was Super Kirby Clash, or the other way around, one or the other. The last games were Super Kirby Clash, which was a remake of the 3DS game, and Extra Epic Yarn, which was a remake of a Wii game. So that's what they do. Sometimes they do remakes, but a lot of their games are new. They only had, let's see, we're talking about Kirby all of a sudden. They've only had a couple remakes. Nightmare in Dreamland, Superstar Ultra, Extra Epic Yarn, and Super Kirby Clash. I think those are the only four. I don't think they've remastered anything else. Nope, don't think they have. I think that's it. So hopefully something new comes up this year, or another remaster. I have no idea. But yeah, besides 1998, there's been a new Kirby game every year for 28 years. That's pretty cool. And we're gonna end on that note. So some news.
Yay! Ultimate Kirby.
Some news is the plan here is to try to do at least 2 a month. So the plan for this one is to get it out Wednesday, since we dated it as the 8th. We'll see if I pull that off, because work still and other projects. But to get at least 2 a month, 4 in a month maximum. That's every week. And for now, it's only on YouTube. And I don't care about how many views we get right now. I don't care about that at the moment because it's rebuilding. When you rebuild, you're not going to get an amazing splash. If you do, well, then we're amazing. And I thank me more than Verb on that one because I'm cool. No, I thank Verb, of course. It's a dumb joke. If I can keep this going, if this is proof of concept, just like XCOM Chimera, if I can get these out, so 4 to 8 episodes in the next 2 months, then it proves that I can keep the momentum going, and then I'll put all these on a podcast on a podcast stream on RSS feed. That's the word. Put it on that, and then we'll get going with that. That's what's happening here. So just right now, it's proof of concepting that I can actually do this. Because I should be able to do it. My life is set, aside from, like I said, love life, changing anything, for the foreseeable future. And Basic Podcast is fun because it's conversations. And me trying my best not to BS too much, but I totally do, as we could tell.
Although this is the podcast with the least tangents we've done, the least one of these. After what, the 6 or like 5 we've done together at this point?
We could have tangented more. I already know where we could have gone.
We kept it on topic.
Mm-hmm. But
improvements.
Yeah. We'll see if we can keep this going. It'd be great. And anytime I have a gap, I'll probably just ask Verb to come on, or other people, or just Verb to come on. We'll see.
Why not?
But the hope is I'm going to try to get Miz, because of course, and try to get, like I said, some indie dibs. I'm going to try to get, I don't know if Switch isn't really your thing.
No. The last Nintendo console I've owned was the game, the DS, the original DS.
Jesus. But, last PlayStation I've had is, the PS2, but that's because PS2 is PS2. Everyone had a PS2 pretty much.
It was the cheapest DVD player you could get.
Yeah, that, and it just had a huge library. Even after, even with PS3, it had a huge library you could dive into.
No tangents. Keep ending. No tangents. God.
But yeah, so I'm gonna try to see if I can get some indie devs, some Switch specific ones. Like they have made a game called Good Job. There's a dev that made Good Job, which is an amazing game. It's a very silly game, and you've probably heard of this one, Untitled Goose Game.
Yes.
I'm gonna put in some effort to get a hold of everyone on that team and ask each of them if any of them want to get on here, because I want to know any perspective on that game, just how that came up, and just working on it, because they took like 2 years to get that game out, if I remember correctly. We, whatever E3 it was, 2017, 16, 18, I don't remember anymore. It was just like this game with a goose, and the goose is just being really mean to a gardener for a moment, and everyone was interested from there. Who didn't want that game from that point? It's like, okay, I'm really curious. You just get to be a dick bird for a while. This sounds fun. And so...
ruin a quaint English town for a bit.
Yes. So I think 3 or 4 people worked on that game. Maybe even just 2. I can't remember. I know of one person, but I know it wasn't just him who worked on it. So I just need to find a way to email or DM each of them and say, like, anyone interested, because I want to learn about that. And that's what this podcast is trying to have interesting conversations with creatives and just learning about them and everything, and learning about what they made or what they're making. So at some point, gonna try to get voice actors and cosplayers and things like that. I feel like voice actors are an interesting breed to try to get a hold of, because they're always busy. Because if they're not, eating, because they need to make money. And it'll be interesting to see what we do, but I'm going to try to go out and try to get more people, and we'll see what happens. And try to touch back with people we've talked to before, like Mez and such. And Verb again at some point for sure.
Why not?
Yeah. So, anything you want to share about yourself to get more people interested in you?
Just the same, literally just the same thing as before. It's like I stream very rarely, sometimes on my Twitch channel, same name as the one you see on screen. I'm mostly a commentator by trade. For Honor's my current game, but that's on like a temporary hiatus. But yeah, like life's just been good for me. Like I'm not like too heavy going into work. Like coronavirus means tournaments are down a bit, but information for me is literally all the exact same stuff from before. Nothing has changed because, of course, universal branding is a wonderful thing. Like, were you able to get that original Twitter account or YouTube name you were looking for way back when?
Finally! Okay, so...
You did?
Last year, I was bitching. I was like... Because people were talking about Twitch. It was Twitch. Because it was Scarf Plays on Twitch for years. And... like, what happened with me was, the quick story on that one is, someone took LostScarf on Twitch, because of course they did, and they watched like 6 people, and all of their followers are mine. They all followed them thinking they were me, which was annoying, and then they just disappeared, because of course they weren't going to use that name forever, and they just disappeared, and Twitch wouldn't give me the name. They just wouldn't give me the name for some weird-ass reason. For like 2 years I tried, and they wouldn't give it to me. And... I forget who it was that said, like, they were able to change their name on Twitter. They mentioned it. And then I bitched on Twitter. And within the hour, because it was a bigger person that I knew, I don't think it was Mez, it was someone else. Within the hour, Twitch goes to me, he's like, oh, hey, you want that name? Here you go. I was like, that's what it took.
Wow.
Bitching on Twitter with a bigger friend. And that's it. After years of trying within the system. Apparently, it's the squeaky wheel does get the grease if you do it loud enough. That's a lesson of life. But yeah, so verbalosity on everything, right? Like,
indeed, yes. Universal branding is a wonderful thing.
YouTube, no, YouTube, not YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. I do technically have a YouTube, but I'm not a YouTube channel. I have a Twitch, which I just stream with sometimes. Twitter is my main place. That's where I talk and post things and whatever is Twitter. Yeah, just Verbalosity, basically, anywhere.
Yeah, okay, so there we go. So that's him. I'm me. If you don't know who I am, what the hell are you doing here? Oh, you're here for Verb, obviously.
Managed to get to the end of this podcast on this channel without knowing who the channel is. That's an achievement. Also, stop drinking. That's the only way you could do that. If you're completely smashed.
Woo, I suppose so. Well, then again, like, we have a good name, Basically a Podcast. You're gonna get just podcast in there should work, should get to people.
Sure.
But that's it. So I had fun. Hope you had fun watching. That's what it's all about, isn't it? Having fun. Thanks for coming by, and see you next time.